Alright, so the first thing you're gonna want to do is start separating the long hairs from the short, making sure that you don't cut any of her long hair off. And then once you've done that, start brushing it down so that the hair lays down in the direction you want it to. And basically do that all around, and I'm not gonna, make y'all sit here and watch the full video of me brushing hair. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because I'm pretty sure y'all already know how to, brush your hair. For me, if you don't, what are you doing, man? Alright, right here, basically what I asked her was if she wanted the taper to be a little higher, and she honestly doesn't know what a taper is. So for me, I had to explain it, and she was just worried about if the side of her hairline was gonna pop like it usually does. And of course, for me being the great barber that I am, I told her yes. You feel what I'm saying? So right here, this is where I start making my bald guideline. I do this by making a triangle facing up and then shaving down the end. And I'm gonna be doing this to the other side, so yeah, there's nothing special about this. All you gotta do is create a guideline, as you can see, and then shave off the rest of the hair that's past that guideline. You don't have to have a perfect guideline, but I feel like when you make it sharp, it's easier to fade because you see exactly where you're trying to fade away from. Alright, so right here, like I said before, I'm basically just doing the same exact thing, making my guideline and then shaving the hair that's past it. There's nothing special to it for me. You honestly don't even have to do the triangle shape. You could do like a oval, half moon. I don't know. You could do anything you want to create that guideline. It just gotta be bold. So boom. You're gonna want to keep going at it until you get yourself a nice, sharp looking triangle to the point where it's bald, like it's just a bald line going, and that for me just bald. And once you've done that, you see how I'm going back and brushing it at the same time. For me, hold on. See how I'm brushing it at the same time? I'm brushing it down so that any loose hairs that were standing up go down, and I can just trim those off. And yeah, just keep doing that until you get yourself a sharp looking triangle. So now I'm going in with the razor, making sure everything is bald. When you're using the razor, what you're gonna want to do is pull on the skin so that way you don't end up cutting your client. Also, when using a razor on somebody other than yourself, you always want to hold it at a 90-degree angle, otherwise you will end up cutting your client. Alright, so now you're gonna wanna do the same exact thing on the other side. Basically, all you're doing is shaving off the hair and then using the razor to make sure everything's bald. Alright, so the next step you're gonna wanna take is basically with a one guard all the way open, get rid of the excess bulk. Alright, so as you're getting rid of the bulk on the sides, what you're gonna wanna do is continuously brush the hair down so that any leftover hair that's still on her head that has been cut is off. When you're cutting people that have a lot of hair, you always want to make sure you get rid of that excess bulk because that's what's going to make the haircut actually pop. If you do the fade, go on and do the fade, do the taper, and don't cut any of the bulk on the sides or on the top, then it's just basically going to look the same way it was, just it's going to look like she has bald spots on the sides. For me, you're going to want to continue doing this until all around the head looks even. Okay, so I'm gonna start speeding it up for y'all because originally this video is an hour and 30 minutes. And I'm pretty sure y'all not gonna sit an hour and 30 minutes and watch this. Alright, so right now I'm just dusting off all the hairs that didn't fall off by themselves off her face so that I have a clean working area. In the flick out motion with a one guard with the lever all the way closed, you're going to want to set that second guideline in. You're going to want to keep going back and forth with your clippers until you can see that second guideline perfectly clear. Alright, boom. You're always gonna want to make sure there's a brush and arm's reach because no matter what type of haircut you do, you are always going to need a brush. It helps lay the hair down and makes it easier to fade. Now, with no guard lever all the way closed, you're going to want to start fading in that first guideline using the edge of your clippers. You see, just from fading that first guideline, the fade is already coming in like, oh, bro. You see, do you see it? Do you see it? The fade is immaculate. It is sexy. Stop playing with me. It is your boy King Dollar, and I do this shit, man. Alright, as you're fading that first guideline, you always want to make sure you still continue to brush the hair down, because that is going to help you. It's going to help you. It's going to help the fade, I promise you. Make sure you brush the hair down as you're fading it. Alright, so when it comes to fading in the guidelines, you do not want to go past the guideline. Wherever you see the difference between length and hair, that's where you want to try to cut. Do not pass the guideline, otherwise your fade is going to start looking sloppy. You do not want that. Okay, so over here I end up switching clippers. It doesn't matter what type of clippers you using. It doesn't matter. It's still gonna get the same job done. Right now I am using a different set of clippers with the lever all the way open and faded in the second guideline. Alright, right here, I'm gonna start fast forwarding a little bit because I don't want to take too much time out of y'all day, because I know most of y'all probably busy and just want to know how to cut y'all hair real quick. Alright, so on the other side, I'm basically just gonna be doing the same exact thing, same steps, nothing changes. So I'm most likely just gonna fast forward this a little bit for y'all so we can get to the back and show y'all how to do the back. So right here, you could tell she full of herself. Look at her, stroking the face. Look at her, she full of herself. For me, the cut ain't even done yet. This is what I do to my clients. For me, it's not even done yet, but she feeling herself. Alright guys, it's time for the back, you feel me? So boom, the first thing you're gonna want to do is start setting your first guideline, your bald guideline. Honestly, when I set in this guideline, I literally just followed the direction her hair was going, and I didn't even cut that much off. For me, I just cut like right to the edge of her hair. You don't have to cut too much off because it's gonna blend by itself. The back of her neck is already bald, so you'll be straight. You see, literally all I'm doing is shaping it up, and trying to make it look like it was bald. Alright, so there it is. We have our bald guideline. Now all I'm doing is basically just shaving up the rest of the hair that was left. I created a line, now I'm just shaving away the leftover hair. Alright, so you're going to want to keep doing this. Go as far down as you need to until the back of the client or yourself, the back of your neck is completely hairless and bald. Alright, so as you can see right now, I'm just dusting away the hairs that are still on her neck. And when you're cutting someone or yourself, always have something to wipe away the hairs that are on you still, that are on your neck, your face, because that way you'll have a clean working space. Alright, so right here, I just brought out my razors to shave under the guideline to make it completely bald and have a smooth feel to it. Guys, I apologize for the elbow. I honestly did not know this was what y'all was seeing the whole time, but give it a second. Boom, for me. Now y'all can see exactly what I'm doing. I am shaving upwards with my hand on her skin, pulling it away from the razor so that I do not cut her. Alright, so with a one guard lever halfway open, what you're gonna want to do is go up an inch and create that second guideline. Alright, now that you have both your guidelines in, what you're going to want to do is start fading. With the corner of your clippers all the way closed, you're going to want to start fading that first guideline. As you're fading, keep brushing that hair down so that you get a nice smooth fade. Alright, so y'all get the point. So right here, I'm just gonna speed it up a little bit for y'all so y'all could get to the results for me, get to the hairline, the shape up, the razors for me, the good stuff. Alright, so now with the lever all the way open, you're gonna wanna fade out that second guideline using the edge of your clippers. Alright, so I'm gonna fast forward a little bit so that y'all get to the results rather than later. Alright, so right here, I'm just going back with my Slimline Pro to fade in that ball line just a little bit more to give it a little more detail. Alright, now that we finished the fading process, we're just gonna brush the hair down a little bit more so that we can get ready to start shaping her hair up. Alright, using my slimline pose, I'm gonna start shaping up, starting from her ear and giving it that V shape on the back. V line up, for me. And then we're just gonna do the same exact thing on the opposite side. So most likely I'm just gonna fast forward for y'all. Y'all kinda wanna keep that brushing handy and just keep brushing the hair down so that you get a nice shape up. Alright, so right here I'm just gonna use the edge of the blade to give it that nice arch around the ear. Alright, so now that I've shown y'all how to do that side, I'm gonna go to the other side and basically repeat the same steps, and I'm gonna fast forward so y'all can get to the end and see the final results. Alright, so now we're gonna move on to the front of her head and basically just start brushing down the hairline so that we can prep it to get ready to start shaping it up. So we're gonna try to keep her hairline as natural as possible because as you can see, her hairline isn't that straight. For me, it's not straight. So we're gonna start with the highest point on her hairline and basically we try to make it as natural as possible. So I'm gonna start from the corners. I usually start right in the middle, but this time I have to start in the corners so I see exactly where I'm gonna be shaping up for me. Alright, so right here I'm just gently tapping the edge of her hair because we do not want to push it back. Like I said before, we want to keep it as natural as possible. As natural as possible. Do not push your client back because I promise you they will not like it. Unless their hairline is all the way to their eyebrows. That's the only time I would recommend pushing it back. Otherwise, do not push it back because if you do, there's gonna be some problems. You feel what I'm saying? Alright, as you are shaping up your client's hairline, you're always gonna want to make sure you have your brush and your clippers, and you're going back and forth from both of those so that you have an even hairline. Alright guys, so right here we're just gonna go in with the fibers on the corners of her hairline where it's thinner. Wherever it's thinner, we're just gonna hit it with the fibers, making it pop a little bit more, giving it a little bit more life. Alright, so right here we're just gonna do the same exact thing on the other side with the fibers, giving the hairline a little bit more pizzazz, making it pop a little bit more, giving it more life than it has right now. Okay, now we're just gonna touch it up with the Slimline Pro again, going over, making sure the hairline is perfectly straight and everything looks the part. Alright guys, there you have it. These are the final results. Each picture is one angle of her hair for me. And there you have it. Complete fade. This is a taper with a tapered hairline. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one.